Hi friend, and welcome. Today we're gonna do something fun. We're gonna do this beautiful coaster. This is the car coaster. And we're gonna do this, and by doing this, we're gonna master the circle crochet. So for this, I'm gonna be using 4.5 millimeter crochet hook. And I'm going to be using this beautiful Picasso rainbow yarn for this project because look at the colorway. I mean, come on, it's beautiful. It's one of those shiny yarns, so if you don't like shiny yarns like this, you can use any yarn that you want. You can use any yarn regardless. Whatever one that you have at hand would work. Whatever crochet hook that you have at hand would work, so you don't have to use exactly these ones that I have, but if you use it, this is the result that you're going to be getting. So this is really awesome. So let's get to it. I'm going to open up a few of this because I get attacked by my yarn quite a lot. So I'm going to put this aside, and we're going to start with the magic ring. I'm gonna get a little bit closer. Let me see. Okay, there we go. I think that's good. Okay. Can everybody see? Beautiful. Okay. I do have a how to do the magic ring video. I'm gonna link it right up here in that corner. But if you want to do it very quickly, here's how you do it. Here's the tail toward you. You're gonna wrap it around your finger, creating an X like this. The idea is to pull this strand underneath this strand. That is it. So we're gonna put our hook underneath this strand, and then we are gonna grab and pull this strand underneath, and then we're just gonna do a chain one to secure it. And there is your magic ring. Beautiful. So we're gonna do 16 double crochets into this ring. This chain that we just did is going to count as the bottom of the double crochet, and I'm going to do another chain one, so it is going to be 2, and then I'm going to do one more chain, and this is the chain that we're going to use as the top once we complete the circle. So this is going to count as 1 double crochet, and we need 15 more to complete 16 double crochets into this magic ring. So 1 and 2 and 3 and so on and so forth until we reach 16. 3, and that's 4. And there's 5. I'm not a fast crocheter, so you can keep up with me, I think. And is this the 6th one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yes. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Look how beautiful that color change is. It's gorgeous. Beautiful. Now, before I close this itty bitty tail, I want to count to make sure I have enough, that I didn't mess up somewhere. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hold on. Was it 10 or 11? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I do have 16 double crochets in here. So I can pull this and close this. Because this is a fuzzy yarn, it's going to be a little bit tougher to pull this. Usually if you're using like a normal acrylic or any other yarn that is not fuzzy, you'll be able to pull this very easily. Fuzzy yarn keeps catching itself, so this is going to just bear with me for 1 second. And I want to make this a little bit bigger so I don't lose the loop. Okay, what we're going to be doing is pull this tail out so that this ring starts to close. This is polyester, it's not going to break, so you can pull this as tight as you can to close this little gap in the middle. See how it's gone? Great. Now I put this tail towards the back so it doesn't interfere with our crochet. I'm going to put my hook back and I'm going to tighten it up. Normal tightness, not too tight, because we're gonna go on crocheting. So we're gonna find this top of this chain that we just did. That was the first chain that we did. And I'm gonna find the top of this chain, and then I'm going to grab both of these strands. Do you see? There's two in there. The front and back, both of those loops. Let me show it to you again. So we find the top of our chain and we are putting our hook through both of these loops. Okay, you can slow it down or you can pause it to see what I did here. I'm going to do it again just to show. Found this last chain and put my hook through and grabbed both of those loops, and then I'm going to pull the yarn through, and then I'm not going to stop it. I'm going to continue pulling the yarn through to make it a slip stitch into that next stitch, and that completes our first round. Look how awesome this looks. Beautiful. Okay, now we're going to do the second round, and the second round is where we increase because we're growing outward. If we just keep doing a double crochet in each stitch, it's going to start pulling itself onto itself, so it's going to start becoming kind of like amigurumi. So it's going to start pulling like this, and that's not what we want. We want it to expand as we add rounds to it. For that, you are going to have to increase the stitch count, and what that means is instead of putting a single stitch, just one crochet into each stitch, we're going to do two, whatever crochet you're using, and in this instance we're going to be using double crochet, 2 double crochets into the same stitch every stitch. If you're using a different project where you use like single crochet, so you're going to be putting 2 single crochets in each stitch. But for this particular project that we're working on, we're going to be doing double crochets in all the rounds. So we're going to be putting double crochets in each stitch, but we're going to make it 2. So before we go ahead and start adding those, instead of chaining up 2 to start the double crochets, what I like to do is I like to kind of mix match and make it a fake double crochet. And what I mean by that is I'm not just going to chain 2 and continue. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the same stitch that we did the slip stitch and put my hook through both of those loops, and then pull the yarn through so I have 2 loops on my hook. And I'm going to do another slip stitch as if I'm doing like a single crochet. So this will act like the bottom of the double crochet. It's not technically a double bottom of the double crochet, but it looks like it, and that's what I want. And I'm going to do chain 1 and chain 2 after that. So this will act like a fake double crochet strand. Now I'm going to put a second double crochet into the same stitch that I just did the very first one. So that'll be our second double crochet. And then I'm going to continue putting 2 double crochets in each strand all the way around. Next stitch, I'm going in and grabbing both loops. Oh, I forgot to yarn over. pull it through. That's the first double crochet. Put the second double crochet into the same stitch. Great. Now we're going into the next stitch, put a double crochet, and then put another one into the same stitch. And then we continue doing it like this until we get to the end point where we started. That's going to be completing the round. First double crochet, and then the second double crochet, and just keep doing this until you reach the end or the beginning, however you look at it. If you forget, if you put like 1 or 2 stitch, for example, something happened and you had to leave your crochet, you come back and you forgot where you were, just stretch it out so that you can count how many stitches are in there. Now I have 2 double crochets in here, so I can go on and move on to the next stitch and put the 2 double crochets there and continue. First and second. First and second. All right, we're in the last stitch of the second round, so we're gonna add 2 double crochets into the same stitch, and we are ready to close up this round and move on to the next. Just like we did in the first round, I'm gonna find the top of the chain, the very first chain we did of this round. Okay. It's a little bit tricky always, but that's totally fine. When I find this hard to do, I get my needle and I do it with the needle because it's a lot easier to poke the needle through, although this fuzzy yarn is killing me. Okay, because I don't want to split the yarn. That's not my intention. I'm just trying to find the top. And here it is. I don't want to poke it through this hole because it'll leave this gap. I don't want this, so I'm just going to take just the top 2 stitches. Top 2 loops, not stitches. Okay, so let's see if this worked. Just go in 1. Okay, and let's get the second one. Poke through. Okay, here we go. We got in. All right, pull the yarn through and then slip stitch. And that will complete your second round. All right, that's how it looks. Beautiful. Now we can continue on to our final third round. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go into the same stitch that we were just in doing the slip stitch, and then pull the yarn through, and that is going to create our bottom of the double crochet. Do a slip stitch and then chain 2. And then this time we are going to be going and increasing on every other stitch. On the second round, we increased on every stitch, so we put 2 double crochets on each stitch. This round, we're gonna do every other stitch increase, which means 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, all the way around until you reach the end. So we're increasing every other stitch. So the first one, I'm going to do the 2 double crochet because this is the starting point and I want this to have a little bit more security. So I'm just going to go into the same stitch and do another double crochet, and that will act like 2 double crochets in the same stitch. That's our starting point. So because we did 2 double crochets, the next stitch is going to be a single double crochet. I'm not saying single crochet, I'm saying just single double crochet. Oh, I can't speak. Single double crochet as in 1 double crochet. So we did 2, 1. Now it's time to do 2 double crochets into the same stitch. So let's do it. This is the first, and this is the second. Let me get some yarn. All right. So we did 2, 1, 2. Now we're going to be doing a single double crochet into this stitch. Next is going to be double crochet. So 2 double crochets into the same stitch. And so on and so forth. If you ever forget where you were you're doing 1 or 2, again, you can stretch it out and you can see 2, 1, 2, 1. So the next is going to be 2. So you don't have to worry about it. If something comes up and you have to leave your work, you're tired, you did a little bit, you can just put it away and wake up the next morning, or whenever you get a chance to do it the next time, you can just pick it up right where you left off and just continue. 2, so I'm going to put 1 here. Super easy. And you can do this with any yarn, but the variegated yarns are amazing, especially for projects like this. It looks so good. I mean, look at this. It's beautiful. Oh, let's put this away. I don't want to see you. I'm gonna well, we're almost done, so I should have maybe just weaved in this end before we started. But anyway, we can do this at the very end. So 2, we're gonna put 1 here and then continue until you reach this end there. We started right there. And one thing too, if you ever like mess up, you can put 2 single crochets side by side or 2 double crochets side by side. That is okay. This is like continuous same pattern. There are no gaps in between. It's going to forgive, so you don't have to rip it up and then redo it again. That's totally fine. It's going to be okay, so don't worry about it. Okay, now we're at the final stitch of this round, and because I put 2 double crochets in the first stitch, the final stitch of this round comes to a single double crochet here, but I'm going to vary this a little bit. In the final stitch, I want this to be not a single double crochet, but I want to put 2 double crochets in here because I want this place to be a little bit squished so that we do not see this chain, the very first weird stitch that we do. That's not a double crochet, that's not a chain, that's a weird thing. I do not like it that much, so we want to hide it as much as possible. For that reason, since this is my last row, it's not going to be visible to anyone, only we will know this. So I'm going to put 2 double crochets into the same stitch as the very last one. You don't have to do this, you can just do a single one and then finish it up like that. That is totally fine. It's just my personal preference to do it like that. And we are done. We just did 3 rows of this round. And if you're going to be continuing this, if you want to do something a little bit larger, maybe like a real coaster that is like the size a little bit bigger, you're probably going to have to do 2 more rounds of the double crochets and then stop right there, and that'll be your coaster. You can turn this into a pillow, you can turn this into like a dinner mat, the table setting or something like that, or you can just make this a little bigger and then turn this into a rug, whatever your project is, whatever you can think of. If you're continuing this, what you're going to be doing is continually increase, just like we did with the first and the second round, but you're going to be continuing it, adding 1 more single double crochet. And what I mean by that is, the very first round we just put the stitches. The second round we increased in every stitch. The third round we increased every other stitch. So this was 1 1. This was 1 2. I'm sorry. This was 2. This was 1 2, meaning double crochet, 2 double crochet, double crochet, 2 double crochet, double crochet, 2 double crochet. The next round, if you're continuing, is going to be 1 1 2. What that means is 1 double crochet in 1 stitch, 1 double crochet in 1 stitch, and then the next stitch is going to have 2 double crochets. So 2 1 2 1 1 2, and then you are going to continue 1 1 1 2 1 1 1 1 1 2, and so on and so forth until you reach whatever size that you are aiming for. All right, I'm gonna cut it off right here because you get the idea, and this is going to be a car coaster, so it cannot be any bigger than this. But like I said, you can feel free to continue and work on this. It's gonna look lovely with whatever yarn you're using, whatever size that you're making. All right, now finishing this off, I'm not going to crochet this end into this. Instead, I want to do an invisible join with this one because this is the final one. I don't want to do a knot at the top because it's going to be visible. You're going to feel it. I don't like it that way. So what I want to do is I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm going to cut something like this that is going to allow me to put this yarn into this darning needle, and I'm going to sew this in. I'm going to show you how to do the invisible join. So we've cut our yarn and we're ready to finish it up. I'm just going to pull this yarn out as if we're done here. I don't need my hook anymore, so I can put it aside. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread my needle. Okay, like this. And I'm ready to do it. What I would like to do is, like I said, we're going to do the invisible join. And what that means is when we're ending it, we're going to create this beautiful braid. Continuous beautiful braid, so you won't even be able to tell where it starts and where it ends unless you're watching the color, because the color is a big tell, but I think that's okay. So for this one, just like we would have gone with the hook, we're going to find our top chain that we would have normally gone in. So this is the top chain, top of the chain, and then with my threaded yarn, with my threaded needle, I'm going to go in toward myself this way. So find the 2 loops, go through it toward you, and then pull it through. So this end will come close to this. Do not pull it too tight, okay? We don't want it like this. We want this to be a little bit loose, the same looseness to create this end. So this one that we just threaded is going to act like the top of that strand. Does that make sense? You see how these tops are going? So this one is the top of this loop. Now it is not complete. We still have to close out that loop. And for that, we are going to go into the middle of this V. We're not going to go under both of these. We're going to go right in the middle of this V, okay? And once we go through, we're going to pick up not only this, we're going to pick up the one underneath it too. So we're going to pick up these 2 strands. So I'm still having 2 loops in my on my needle, and I'm going to pull this through, and then I'm going to pull it until I'm happy with the shape of this V. Oh, I did not do it properly. Okay, hold on. Pull this through. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go right in the middle, here, and then I'm gonna pull this through until I'm happy with the distance of the V so that it looks like any other V here. Okay. So that it will look invisible. Only you'll be able to tell where this ended. Okay? It looks like any other stitch. And to secure it, I'm going to go in and do a very small knot here. It's not even a knot. I just put it through another loop. But I'm not going to tug it tight because it'll pull this one through and then you'll be able to tell where it was. So just make sure that you're not pulling this too much. So hold on to it if you can and just make sure that it is not pulling through. And I'm going to go in a couple of stitches here, maybe just one more here before I go in to secure the whole thread. So here's another small one. I'm doing small ones right after I put it back. But now I'm gonna go underneath these, which this is gonna be a lot easier if you're using like a regular yarn. The fuzzy yarn is really tough to do because it catches everywhere, but that is kind of a good thing because that means the tail is never gonna come out. So I think this should be enough. I'm just gonna pull this out. And don't pull it too much. And I am going to cut my yarn as close as possible. It's still showing, but what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to pull this out a little bit and make sure that I adjust it with my fingers. So this is how it ends, basically. That's how you're going to be closing it, and we are done with this. Of course, we're going to be putting this end as well. All right, let me do this real quick and I will be right back. Okay, I think we can do just a couple stitches and that should be enough, because this is, like I said, it's a fuzzy yarn, and see how hard it is? Okay. Don't panic. We can make it. I'm just going to pull it through a little bit more, and then pull this yarn through, and then pull this yarn through. That should suffice just for the middle section. Do it close. Once you pull it, it's gonna disappear. Do you see? And it's not coming out. And that is the end of our circle story. See, you got 2 coasters to put in your car. That looks lovely. You can sell these if you want. You can gift these if you want. You can do it for your own use. It's very decorative. It's really pretty. So go and enjoy yourselves, and I hope you liked this video and this was helpful to you and educational, I'm hoping. Let me know in the comments if you like this kind of content and you want me to do more tutorials. The only way that I can know that is if you're watching it, if you're giving it a thumbs up, and if you're commenting down below. That would help out a lot. That's, you know, the best thing that you can do for a small, tiny channel like mine. I would greatly appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!